Hey guys, how's it going? CloverFour back again with another VOD review here. This time, of course, looking at my own gameplay, but it is with Ashe. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a different change for sure. I do want to expand and broaden my content and guides to DPS and support as well, just as time goes by, which would benefit more than just the Wrecking Ball mains I'm currently doing content for. I wouldn't consider my slouch as a DPS. In fact, I played more DPS than I have tank, and I did climb to 3600 before I switched to PC, playing mainly Ashe and Doomfist. So that's kind of the credibility I'm working with. Say what you will about console versus PC. In my opinion, not much of a difference. It's some trade-offs here and there, but I mean that's just another discussion for another time. If anything, just this format from the VOD review just allows the leniency to talk about the theory of the game, which I think I'm way better at than playing the game, definitely. So just by talking about the theory of what I should do, what you shouldn't do, I think that would just pose some good educational tips and tricks for you guys. So I think this is a good time to start off this VOD review. I will say I want to keep this one relatively short. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. I probably will just explain one concept over and over again. And actually, speaking of which, the topic I want to focus on is power positions, different angles, and the inherent advantages of these different positions. So we're going to dive into that. Of course, we're going to look into other aspects of Ashe, but they're not as important. In fact, I actually make a bunch of mistakes, so I guess it's good to look over those as well. To give some context about this match, we're in 2300, so that's gold. All right, I guess just to get the habit of things, to be frank, I'm not going to focus too much attention on team comps. As you can see, this is pretty whack gold, so this is probably pretty relatable. So starting off with our tank lineup, we have Orisa. Talking about them individually, Orisa is a value over time hero, meaning she gets more value the longer she survives. So whether that's through damage by shooting shields and heroes, that accumulates up to thousands of damage, and also her shields. If you like to think about team fights as, let's think a hypothetical team fight lasts 50 seconds, okay? A hypothetical team fight, 50 seconds, that means she gets 5 shields. Her shield cooldown time is going to be 10 seconds, so that's going to be 5 shields. If you do 5 shields and the amount of HP those shields have, that's not right. 600, that's going to equate to 3,000 effective shields. So that's hopefully one way to determine what a value over time hero is like. Roadhog is kind of the complete opposite. He gets value over time because he can get more Roadhog hook kills, but he's more of a bursty version of that where he relies on his hook to find picks, more or less. I could talk about their combo of pulled pork, but gold rank, it's really hard to do. And something I just observed is it's really hard to combo abilities, even in Grandmaster. You rarely see it just because it's an ability, it comes more frequently. And I mean, let's say this Roadhog is here, he'll probably just see a little Zen here and go for this hook. Well, I mean, you just defeated the whole purpose of a combo. So you'll just use it on your own will. And that's why it's really hard to sync up those abilities. But I highly recommend if you're in comms to try and pair up those abilities. Just say, hey, do you have halt? Yes, no. If yes, then you just say, okay, pull this and whatever. Basic commands, and then try and follow up. So even as Ashe, for instance, and Orisa pull, I can throw dynamite. Hopefully it lands onto multiple enemies. I can farm out Bob much easier. Now onto the supports. Both really bad, but just talking about them individually, we've got Zenyatta and Moira. Zenyatta is also another value over time hero. He's a spam hero. He's just throwing his orbs of destruction at the enemy team, dealing damage over time. Even his Discord also amplifies that damage over time. Potentially with Sombra can go for a pick or assassination, where discord onto a support. Sombra sees that, goes for that that support or whatever it may be. But more or less, it's just spam. Moira, I guess, how do I explain it? So Moira is a hero that likes Deathball or Brawl or Rush comps, if you heard of those terms. Basically, that's when an entire team is stacked on top of each other. So Moira finds value by throwing her Biotic Orb and also using her primary healing, which penetrates multiple teammates, so that she could just farm up Coalescence. And in a pro environment, that's kind of the idea, is that you just farm up Coalescence so fast that you use the early Coalescence to force advantages and overwhelm the opponent. That's the ideal scenario for Moira. In this case, it's just a really bad comp for her to start out with, for the fact that she's splitting the resources between individual targets. This means that she's going to use more resources. Like, she's not finding the peak value. If we're all stacked together in this location, then yeah, you could argue that it's finding value. But because she's like spraying here and spraying here and spraying here, she's just not finding the same amount of value, wasting resources for no reason. Again, these comps are going to change a little bit. I think this guy goes to like Ana or something. Yeah, anyways, you'll see. I don't want to focus too much attention on them. All right, DPS. So Sombra, honestly, no synergy with the entire team comp. At least Ashe, Zen, and Orisa kind of fit the playstyle of poke hero. But for these guys, Sombra is just going to try and disable certain heroes. In this case, the best target is probably Sigma, probably Genji, and arguably Baptiste if he hasn't used Lamp already. He's kind of hard one to get after. If you can hack him and then go for like a dive, this is hypothetical, go for a dive, then that's your opportunity to strike when they don't have the resource of Lamp. But that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be really hard. You don't have a super clear target, so Sombra is going to just be an EMP bot, so if she can just focus down tanks, farm up EMP, win fights off of an EMP. That's our win condition with her. Ashe is a greedy hero, and the reason why you may have heard greedy is because that she's someone that has very high highs and very low lows. So if you'd like to think of Ashe, let's just think of her gun. Okay, so gun. At the start, when she has that full ammo, she's like this. When she starts shooting, it's linear. Maybe she'll like reload a couple bullets and it'll go up, but it just like stays down until she fully reloads, okay? That's kind of how her curve goes. Very low, when she has no impact. No impact, okay? Then you look at Dynamite. Dynamite, same thing. Dynamite, Coach Gun. Like, C for Coach Gun, Dyne for Dynamite. Very high, like, yeah, how do I explain this? So, on multiple enemies, very high, but it's gone and it drops off until it comes back online, right? Coach Gun, same thing. Very high, gives you that mobility, but for 10 seconds, you just kind of go like this until it comes back. This is why she's a greedy hero, is because she's got all of these high highs, low lows. Whereas someone like Kree, if we were to talk about Kree, so we've got gun, we've got flash, and roll. Gun is just kind of like this, use 6 bullets, then there's kind of this brief reload, and go like that. Ashe has to, if we use different colors here, this is a little bit ranty, but it's just, I feel like this is important to know why certain heroes are greedy. Ashe has the same kind of line, but then when she uses bullets, it's linear, and it keeps going down low, and then she plateaus until she reloads all the way back up. At least Kree has a shorter reload time. That's why he has a less low point than an Ashe. All right, so for Flashbang also very short cooldown. And you're trading out Flashbang for Dynamite. Flashbang gets its value. Brief window. I should use the other color. Kree, it's like this. Ashe, is like this. Longer cooldown time, so that's how it is going. So now for roll and coach gun, same thing. Ashe is like this. Kree is like this. Hopefully that gives you the idea of what a great hero is. Now, also to feed onto the Ashe, which I was trying to get onto before my rant, we also have Bob. Bob is going to be a really nice hero for off angles. The ideal placement for Bob, let's say the enemy team has pushed cart to this location here. If I put Bob, I don't think this is a good example, but if I put Bob right here, the area that Bob covers is this entire sight line. There's like these stairs. Probably not that. That's the entire area that Bob covers. That's not my eraser. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's the entire area Bob covers. If the rest of the team is here, which there normally are, they are going to be shooting. So blue means us shooting. Bob is shooting. Pew, pew, pew. And the rest of our team is here. So now we've created this double angle. So looking from a perspective of the enemy team here, let's say it's Reinhardt, they cover one angle, the Bob shoots them in the back. So what they have to do is commit resources to put attention to either like just run for cover and hide away from the Bob, or put more resources into trying to kill him. Maybe if it's a double shield, you put 2 shields. But now, instead of double layering the shields like you would before, you now have to commit that resource into putting that extra shield here in the back. So that's how Bob's used, to split attention for his resources elsewhere, and that gives your team more breathing room. Okay, I think I got everything I wanted to talk about. That's kind of the general playstyle of Ashe. That's why Ashe is so good, is because you can create the 7th man, create that extra bit of pressure. A lot about this first point is about this high grounds. Actually, I should probably get into that. So I'm probably going to fast forward a lot of what's going to happen throughout the entire match because it's really not important. But the idea I'm trying to express here are just angles. So this is where we actually get to what I was going to, what I was prefacing. Prefacing? Sure. All right, high grounds. Why are high grounds so important? Well, here's the reason. Let's outline our high grounds here. So we've got this guy here. We've got like this little window. Then we've got this high ground here. Then we've got this high ground. Although we don't use it, if we did use it, this would be like a perfect. There's also like these high grounds back here, but we don't use them. All right. Also, yeah, we don't use this one, but this is more accessible to a team. Like if I was Ball, if I was D.Va, Winston, you got Ashe, Hanzo. There's a lot of heroes that can reach this spot as a defender and just hold it here. So why are these high grounds so important? So at the beginning here, the cart, obviously you can see, is right here. That's the cart. Okay. What angles are we shooting at? Well, this high ground can shoot here, this high ground can shoot here, and this high ground can shoot here. It's a lot of front pressure. I mean, it's still 6 players, but it's kind of enacting a choke point. A choke point, by the way, is like Hanamura. Let me just draw the door here quickly. Hanamura. The reason why it's called the choke point is because if you have 6 of your team in pink, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, your entire team, colors. I like colors. Your entire team is looking and funneling all their attention to one spot. Whereas the enemy team in blue, which is kind of contradicting, enemy team here, they expose themselves to all of these angles. So they have to split their attention to all of these spots. Whereas the pink team is focusing all on one. The blue team, the enemy attacking team, has to focus attention on all of the 6 angles. Does that make sense? So how it relates to this is that we are focusing all of our attention here, so that's why it kind of acts like a choke. As the cart progresses, however, let's move the cart. Now the cart moves here in this location. What happens to our sight lines? Now we've got this guy shooting here, this guy shooting here, and this guy shooting here. Back to our example of Bob. If they have a shield here, now they're getting shot by 2 angles back here and back here. So what they have to do is split attention to try and defend themselves. But it's 3 angles and it's really hard to defend themselves. This is why Dorado First Point you can hold on this area, because if people don't respect the space, then going down here is like Death Valley. So as you can see, these guys are being smart. It takes a while for their entire team to realize how smart this is, but these guys are smart because they're trying to apply pressure and we're trying to contest this space. In pro teams, what you'll see is that they go like this, loop around here, fight the space, they fight here, and then they have an on cart that gives them progress until the actual fight starts at the choke. This makes payloads maps really dynamic because the defending team have to think about all these different angles to defend from. Once a cart reaches here, the objective is not to hold this space whatsoever. It's to now hold this choke, right? Again, same thing. You got 6 players all funneling attention here. So that's why this is another key position to hold. You hold on these areas. You got doorway. You got a little bit of cover from this pillar here, right? And then you probably have like an Ana support, whatever it may be, that also is just shooting down this lane. Tanks be here. Hold the cart. Make sure the cart doesn't move. That's the idea. And because the cart is moved here, instead of us holding here where it was at one point super advantageous, I should do this. Okay. Instead of holding it on these high grounds where it once was advantageous as the cart was slowly snaking its way over here, progressing, now we have to, the cart is here, so now we have to move our entire setup so that we're defending this location. And that's why it's dynamic, because we have to always constantly think about where the cart is and where it's more important to hold space. So now let's say the cart is moving past and we, for some reason, just ignore it and stick on these high grounds here, right? If we stick on these high grounds, that means now the defender's advantage has swapped. They have this cart where now we have to approach the cart. It's not like they have to push the cart. Now we have to get to the cart to try and contest it so that they can't cap. So this is, you, again, have to think about where you need to defend from, because if they flip the defender's advantage, now we have to push into them. They're funneling all their attention onto us wherever we're coming from. And that's going to make it really hard for us to defend because we've lost our defender's advantage. That's the importance of these high grounds and positions. This is something you probably didn't think about. I didn't think about this until I started kind of studying Overwatch. I didn't really think about this, but honestly, the reason why you hold at Hanamura choke is because it's just advantageous for you to funnel all your attention here. You don't want to be back at point because now you're giving them all that free space so that they can take these off angles, and now you just swapped the position. Now you're in the space where they can shoot and funnel at one location and you have to look at multiple other locations. If you can limit their angles and give your team a lot of angles, that's how you succeed. You don't want to take angles like, let's say you wanted to spawn camp. You don't want to take angles like this is a rare case. You don't want to take angles here, because what you're basically saying is that it's going to be a brawl between who has the most spam, who can do the most damage faster than the other team. You don't want that to happen. If you can find ways to deal damage safer, that's the key. Safer, as we'll talk about. There's a bunch of examples where I just use these high grounds as cover. I'll show you probably later on second point. But throughout the entire thingamabob here, again, my sight lines, what I can see this entire area, the space that they need to contest cart. And I'm just free firing. Wish I could have hit that shot there. Okay, so now the objectives back here. Like I said, this is where we need to start dropping. Which we don't respect, actually. We just let them get free cart presence. And now we finally drop. So the cart's here. If it was back here, this high ground's good. But because it's here, we don't want to lose our defender's advantage, so we have to rotate back to this spot so we can contest the cart in a way better position than if we were here. That's why you have to move to this location. I really like this high ground, so that's why I stick on it. But it eventually leads to my demise because I overcommit to it. I stay a little too long. I'll show you where. So now they swapped from Sigma to Roadhog. This just frees up Ashe a little bit more. I don't have shields to worry about. I can use my burst potential with my gun to possibly get picks. Alright, just like I foreshadowed, Orisa is up here. Now you got Zenbap going up there. They're taking the space. They're contesting us. And I think the reason why we lost this point is because we just gave up all that space for free. We didn't contest it. We didn't make a fight out of it. And actually they're getting free cart touches here. So like we just gave up so much space for no reason. That's kind of how we lost. If only I hit a headshot there, and if only I hit the Zen here. Alright. Just to get this over with, can anyone tell me why this is such a bad Bob spot? If we look at the angles Bob gets, sure, it can be good. It covers pretty much all of this space except this angle. So if you could kind of think of it, it covers all the space, maybe not here, but pretty much all the way across here, excluding this like little cover here and this little cover here. It pretty much covers the entire point. So that's kind of its cone. That's kind of its cone type thing. This would be a great bot position if the enemy team have already walked here, because then I'm creating this off angle where Bob is starting to shoot at this direction, and we, our team, are starting to shoot this direction, creating a pincer. Why this Bob is bad is because their team is right here, and they can all shoot at it. They're in a safe location, so really this Bob did nothing except die. Like it wasted like 3 seconds of their time. Another reason, I know my thought process in this move, and it's because they use trance. We want to even up the power spike of our resources to try and balance this out. So they use trance. I want to use Bob to try and even things out, so that it's not like they're going to overwhelm resources. Yet do I know I'm unaware that my Orisa had died. I think I totally I did it went over my head, and we also lost Zen at some point. So it's practically a 3v6 or a 3v5. And then what I do wrong is that I stay a little too long. I'm completely unaware of what's going on. Because we've lost our Orisa, our somewhat main tank, to anchor her position. She's not great at it, but whatever. We lost our main tank. That gives us some semblance of space control. So Orisa shield here. we can kind of control this area and that area effectively. Meanwhile, the enemy team's territory is like that. Okay? What I misread is that, like, I'm in enemy's territory. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm in the enemy's territory. They are controlling all the space because we have less resources. Our space is slowly dwindling. We don't have those resources from Orisa to hold space and contest and possibly even like push forward. They are now pushing forward. I did those arrows backwards. They are now pushing forward because they have the excuse to do so. We have less resources. I'm in their territory. I'm at threat. So what could I have done? In this situation, if I was smart enough, I could have just rotated back to my team way earlier. In this specific case, because I am kind of overextended, the safest bet is to just take this long route. So I'm going to be like gone. I'm not going to be part of the fight, but at least I can live with my life. But I don't. And despite me trying to kill the Junkrat, missing all my shots, Zen uses trance. It's just a lost cause. Alright, 2 speed. Nothing really happens here. Alright. Actually, let's just go back there, because this is the reason why Highgrounds are also really, really good. Alright. I want to take pot shots at the Zen. If I can get that pick, that's really nice, because that just delays their push. Here's the thing. I'm poking, and I got hit. I'm half health. I took a dink in the head. What does Highgrounds do? Like, let's just use this example here. So, let's pretend I'm the Zen here, whatever, or some sort of enemy. And this is the area that I project. So if you think of me, that's the area they can see me. So this is my head, torso, whatever it may be. I do some pew-pewing, and they hit me in the head. If I am fearing my life, what do? I just run back here. Now, if I draw the little stick man, remember, I'm like above ground. I'm not on the ceiling. Now they can't see me. So there's no possibility of them killing me unless they somehow get up here. And I think you'll see Junk and Baptiste try and get up here. And so they have to get up here and try and contest me. Unfortunately, Baptiste has something called Moon Boots, which allows him to do this for free. But if it wasn't Junkrat, but it was like Winston, Diva, Ashe, Hanzo. No, Hanzo's also got that passive. Basically, someone that has a cooldown that uses that cooldown to get up on high ground. That's kind of a good win. You'll kind of see how that works out. So he uses one right now and falls right back down. Uses his second one. Now he doesn't have it to try and finish me off. So he has to land one of his grenades or something. And then right back on high ground, because high ground's such a powerful position that I always want to be up here. There was something that I saw from Jane. Jane did a great illustration of it. I think he called it threat projection or something like that. But basically what he said, I already explained the first one. I'll reiterate that. But what he said, let's say this is Widowmaker, and this is the enemy Reinhardt, okay? Shield. The area that Reinhardt covers is this entire space behind him. So if you had a teammate here, they're safe. Now, if I get rid of this, if Widowmaker positions herself on high ground, where the Widowmaker can see this space, I've cut off that angle, and maybe if this yellow dude was a little bit further back, now that guy's exposed to Widowmaker headshots. And this Reinhardt isn't covering as much space as he did before then. And this is kind of what we saw about this high ground here. It's kind of the same idea. With high grounds in cover, I can position myself up here, and the only sight lines that they see is like kind of this like little box here. If you can kind of picture that. I move to here, then they just have like their sight lines go up here. That's the area they see. So if I move back, then they can't see me anymore. It's a good way to think about space. And then, yeah, the second thing he also pointed out is what I've been saying about Bob and also those high grounds. What they do for their advantages is these off angles. So same thing, Widowmaker. Let's get my yellow, because yellow is my favorite. Yellow, we're looking at a top down. So if our team is all shooting here, here's the enemy Reinhardt. We're putting all this attention onto him. We're shooting him. The people behind him are safe. Now, if I decide to take an off angle, so we still have the rest of our team, so let's just draw a few more. If someone decides to take an off angle, now Reinhardt here, I don't know why I deleted it, but I did, shoots here, but now this Widowmaker can also shoot here, right? Covers that extra angle, which means someone, a support, I can now, because this is the effective coverage, and then I just split that angle so that now I can pew pew onto the support and they're threatened. That's one way to think about angles. I think that's a great tip. Let's see what this next Bob will do. I think, actually, never mind. I already know what to do. All right, here's our first challenger. Roadhog starts walking up here. This is a simple awareness thing. Like I just saw the Roadhog. I know what he's trying to do. He's going to walk up here. He's a flanker, so I kind of know how he's going to play. So take cover, get heals, double check in where this Roadhog is. Apparently he's super slow, so there he is. Here he is. Bob. Okay. So while I'm out of the fight, Bob is going to fill in for my spot. At least that was the idea. I think I was, if we kind of like go back, I want to see, because maybe this was just an accidental placement. Okay. Let's look at where my crosshair went.
Bob, do something.
Yeah, that was a bad one. If I had placed it in this corner so that they can't just easily shoot it from safety on their side of the choke, their territory, if I put it here, as they're coming out, they would be pressured by Bob and then us shooting from this angle. But I put it on cart. It doesn't really matter though, because they commit a lot of resources into, like, I don't know what those resources were doing. Bob was doing nothing. If they just waited it out, then it was just a wasted cooldown. So they use 3 ults, or no, 2 ults, Amp Matrix, and actually they did use 3. Trance, Amp Matrix, and nope, I'm wrong. I can't count. Transcendence and Amp Matrix. There we go. That took a little bit of time. And what did that gain them? Like, all it did was just kind of force us back. They got through the choke. The Transcendence was, I guess, in response to Bob, but Bob wasn't in a position to threaten them. It was just contesting cart. And their Amp Matrix just forced us off this corner. That's all that did. Meanwhile, I could shoot over shields. The Zen is not safe. Nice flick. Pat on the back for myself. Poke for ult. Never overcommit when you're doing this. You want to take a fight when the fight actually starts. You don't want to just poke and then just get randomly killed. Yeah. never stay in their enemy territories. So here's the same thing. Roadhog, I think, is going to be making the same play and flanking. But more importantly, what's going on here? High ground. Get ready for it. Get ready for... There we go. He used his visor. I just ran away. Alright, use visor, but you're not killing me. I kind of do peek a bit just to find a little bit of value, but I'm never like over peeking. I'm just like peek, shoot, and if I hit a shot or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of waiting out the visor. Alright, Bat finally decides to start pressuring me out. Get schooled on. But he's not healing his team right now. And also, in this perspective, again, Bob, do something. You're filling in from a spot just in case if I die, committing all these resources. That's one thing I've learned from watching Owl, actually, is that if you're about to die and like it's almost inevitable, just use every resource you had. There's no point in saving it. Unless it's ultimates, when you have more fights to give. In this case, like, I didn't really think about it, but it is overtime. I was just more thinking about it as, I don't want to give up this space, so I'm going to use Bob just in case if I die. That was my thought process. But it works out in our favor, because we killed the bat piece. There we go. That was, I just went on high ground and they did nothing about it. That's all that it was. All it came down to. I like how I said I wanted to make this a short one, yet it's already like 40 minutes for me, so... Alright, same things apply on offense to defense. The only difference is that the objective is something you want to control, not defend. So you're not going to have defender's advantage. Although, you do want to still enable yourself, put yourself on power positions like these high grounds so that you can get off angles, and that way you can try and reduce their threat from chokes. So, to emphasize my point, if say they're here, trying to shoot here, by me being here, I can pressure here. So that they're splitting some attention, but not, like, it's not going to do so much because I'm in this, like, awkward position. I don't have the defender's advantage. I don't have that initial positioning, so I don't have clear sight lines, but I'm just kind of utilizing the off angles to still get value, put some attention elsewhere other than one location. I think this is why we get full held, or for a while. Because all they do is they gave up this high ground, these high grounds here. I like yellow. They gave up those high grounds and started rotating back here. And as you can see, the Orisa likes to hold here, and also Roadhog likes to hold here. And as a payload gets to this point, they're contesting it. Meanwhile, you got Soldier, you've got their BAP, you've got their Ana, and then Sombra's kind of doing everything. I don't know, kind of being everywhere at once. And I think that's why we get full held, is because if you notice a pattern, we go like this. We all just go like this. So I think it just takes a miracle for us to win this out, and we'll actually get to that a little bit. Let's get that off my screen. So yeah, just look at how we move. We're trying to force going down this one choke. The best ways to do, to get through this area are, you know what, let me just play this out, because yeah, they just used the Ant Matrix, and now we're just getting overwhelmed by it, and we're back to square one. Let me watch one more because that happens again. Like, we've already spent over a minute trying to contest here, and yet we're doing the same plan. Bob. This is a good Bob. Because if you can see Bob holding here is basically putting his attention here. And then our team is putting our attention here. So we've kind of created this very scary space for them. Let me use a highlighter. That's, there we go. This is the space that is under the most threat. And then if blue is kind of this mid-threat stuff that only one person is looking at, that's... Right? This is, the pink is our cross-section. That's where all of our attention is. So, yeah. So, pretty decent Bob. This is our moment to shine, if it is, but they are using resources. We're trying to take these off angles, but we don't have enough people to help support this. We've got Orisa, who's not doing enough damage herself, and who is this? Like, and then Sombra. So both not damage dealers. Meanwhile, I am and our Moira are just kind of shooting from main, but we're not finding that value. Good positioning by that enemy Ana, by the way. So yeah, it happens so many times that we're just trying to force. We're trying to force. Oh, that's wrong. We're trying to force going down here, but what we should be doing. Yeah, we can go down here. If they give up that space and defend here, then it's fine. But what we actually want to do, just keep one, maybe two people there. Meanwhile, we try and push some of our teammates here out this door, or we try and go through this little access point to try and shoot here, maybe even here, or even to do just this full loop around and go here, take the defender's advantage. But it just, the problem with just taking this long rotation, let me just mark it in yellow. A problem with going around this long rotation is that it's time. So you can only do this like once or twice. These guys are more frequent, but maybe not as impactful. This one, you basically flip the script on its head. You have defender's advantage. You have the better positioning. If you can win that fight, put some people on cart, you can push the cart all the way to checkpoint. But if you fail that, then you just wasted so much time. This is how you can adapt into your games instead of just ramming your head, going down here like we do multiple times. Take different routes. Find different ways to attack. Right? Words of advice. Alright, this is getting into last fight territory. They use a bunch of ults that do nothing. Like, wait it out, it gets no value. Don't know what our Reinhardt's doing, but he's doing something. Alright, they're slowly giving up space. I'm taking it. I want to shoot through this window. Is this window actually impactful? What this window, this like little high ground does is allow me to see a lot of the space. Whereas if I'm here because of this sloped angle, I can't. Like if I'm, this is probably the normal height of someone as a hero. Like I can barely see that Ana, whereas if I'm here on this high ground, I can see a lot more of the point. This slope kind of like makes it really difficult to see what's going on. So I guess that's how that little window finds value, but you could also just go on these stairs too. Things to think about. Into the iris. Finally get the Orisa. This is not a good angle because I can only see pretty much from here to here, right? That's all I can see. This like little tower here just blocks my vision. So I guess, yeah, this is actually really powerful. This is a good spot. Because remember, this sucks. This is only good if everyone is for some reason stacked in this window, or up here they aren't. So this one is the next best because you can see pretty much up to here, excluding this area and this area. Bob's coming online. 35 seconds left. If I had better mechanics, getting that Ana, probably fight winning. Didn't do that, but instead, I clowned on that guy. Okay, what are they using? They have, using Visor, then they're using Nano, and they're using... They'll probably use Whole Hog here. What does this mean in terms of tempo control? Tempo control as in they're using resources so that they can just... Basically, if you take tempo control, it's up to the other team. So they used ults. It's up to us to respond. So we can either wait it out so that they don't have those resources for the following fight, or we can use our own ults to try and even up that power balance, or even tilt it into our favor. So if they used all those ults, and then we use committed EMP, then Bob, then the power level's kind of in the middle, and I mean, who knows who would win because there's so many ults on the field. I die here. Unlucky. It's desperation. We've got 14 seconds. I was just trying to farm out Bob. I got him, but I died just before I could use him.
10 seconds remaining.
Practically 6v2. 5 seconds left. This is what you call clutch. EMP. Makes everyone panic. We're touching cart. We've got our ball coming in. Here's our Whole Hog. Now, after this, they don't have any ults. The next closest is Orisa. But at least Orisa's ult doesn't find impact immediately. It takes a little bit of time. It's just damage boost, basically. It is damage boost. Alright, we finally built up Coalescence. Coalescence beaming down this like little alley. Sombra is hack the soldier. Soldier can't run away. Get soldier. What happens here? Just rewind a bit. Get dunked on. Now the fight's going in our favor. They lost their Orisa. They don't have that extra ult. The Orisa was low pretty much the entire fight. For what reason, I don't know, but we somehow clutched that out. They used all their resources. Now it's our turn to commit. It just happened at, like, the most clutch time. Like, they used all their resources. They should have won because we're trying to regroup. The difference is that we had Coalescence, we had EMP, we had Bob to try and overtake, and we did. We clutched out. Just saw that Baptiste walk up. And for some reason Baptiste is here. And then Sombra helps me out. Why is he here? I don't know. Now remember how they hold here? The golden box of victory, right? You see that? Because we won that fight, we just 3-stacked our guys. And because it's in such an awkward location, we can kind of just roll on up here. And they're all staggered. Like, we just finished off their Baptiste. They're staggered right now. So we're just kind of snowballing at this moment. So, what was the difference between our defense and their defense? Well, our defense, we like lost one pick here, one pick here, one pick here. And we just slowly lost. And then they capped. Like, we lost members, and then it took a little bit of time for them to cap, because the cart was, like, here, had a cap, gate had to open, there's some time there. With us, we practically capped and then got a few picks afterwards. So that's what staggering's all about. Why is Sombra over there? Oh, because I killed Sombra, right. How's our Sombra still alive? Yeah. So, and they chased their Sombra. Oh my goodness, is that how we won that? I actually didn't see that until now. They all go to chase the Sombra when the objective is right here. Oh my goodness. MVP. 1, 2, 3 people looking at him. Roadhog is on high ground. He's not contesting cart. He just used his hook. He used his heal. Yeah, game over. And the reason why they lost is, like, yeah, they were distracted by the Sombra here. But what's really important is that they didn't hold on key positions. This is a key position. This gives you defender's advantage because you got this like little cover. You can peek out with the Orisa shield here. You can shoot down this lane, down these lanes, right? You've got that defender's advantage. It's like a little choke. If you try and fight here, we've got the payload as cover, so we control that. If you come to us, like, where's your cover? I think they all dropped kind of like here and realized the cart is like coming close around the bend, and then they just had no good way of like sustaining themselves in terms of map geometry. Yeah, like just to talk about it, this is a good corner because this is like space that the cart needs to go. It's got a little bit of cover here, it's got a little bit of cover here, and you can take a fight early. By the time you take that fight and you lose, you can take another one around this objective. That's the idea of holding here. Whereas if you hold on this position, you don't have that same cover. Like, you can go through this doorway, but then you're just wasting time either trying to rotate here. Maybe you're trying to go all the way back to this high ground here. You could also just kind of like jail cell yourself. I don't think that's the right term, but you basically enclose yourself in that box, and then we can just like go ham and finish you guys off in that enclosed space where you actually want to hold, but because this guy is here. Where you want to hold is here, but the golden box of victory is here. So they were kind of forced here, mainly because they're Sombra distracted. But it's yeah, hold here. That gives them that better defensive spot. But because they were distracted by Sombra here, then it took time for them to go here, which is a way inferior position to be in. And then, yeah, we just rolled on through. Like, I mean, they didn't fight a full 6v6. They were all split up. So that's kind of cool to know how we won. We didn't really win by like getting a pick or anything. They just had worse positioning. And then I just rained fire from above. Like, here's the greatest example. Look at what this shield is covering. Nothing. Whereas if I'm here, it's covering that huge space. From up here, it's covering nothing. And then, yeah, just a matter of time. Wow, that was kind of cool. Hopefully that taught you guys a little bit of like kind of concepts, the explanations at least. I don't think there's anything really new, but it definitely opened my eyes when I first discovered them. High ground advantage and what they all do for you in terms of winning just by positional advantages. It's nothing super special, but it's like why do you, like, when people say you should be on high ground, people don't know the reason why you should be on high ground. And so hopefully this video kind of cleared things up. I gotta go to bed. It's 1:46 in the morning. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll try and answer them. All right, see you guys.